It's time to crack open a cold one because this is a little punch drunk. I'm, of course, the man with the mouth of Rambo, back to you once again for a little more the same, but something kind of different. Today I have been pondering. Well, let me start with you guys watching know I don't sleep a whole hell of a lot. And it causes some interesting side effects. One of which is some really random fucking thoughts. So I had one today that I wanted to share with you guys before we get into the meat of the show. Now, what I was thinking is, you know, in an age where we're all doing Amazon and things are being delivered to us constantly, what are the protocols that some of these UPS drivers have to go through, or the FedEx drivers, or any of the other drivers for that matter? What do they have to deal with? You know, in case of, I'm not saying like a car accident, but I'm talking about just if something were to happen. So let me pose to you a woman in charge of a bachelorette party goes on to adamandeve.com and orders 300 dildos. Varying sizes, colors. Some vibrate, some don't. We don't judge. But let's just say she orders this. And our fancy little UPS driver takes a turn a little too hard. The box falls down. Dildos everywhere. Box splits open. What does he do? What does he do? Does he get out, open up the back, and try and repackage all these dildos? Can you imagine that? That's the news story I want to see, is UPS driver spills 300 dildos all over the causeway. That would be funny. But seriously, he opens up the back of the truck, dildos fall out everywhere, some of them start vibrating on their own, start trying to escape, and he's got to capture and package all these? Or does he have to call a supervisor and explain why his entire truck bed is full of dildos? These are the things that go through my mind when I can't sleep for 2 or 3 days. Or how about, so he packages all of them up. He gets them to their arrival point, but the woman, you see, she's meticulous. She knows exactly how many dildos there are, and she's short one. By the end of his route, he realizes the big black dildo with matching balls, realistic hair, and vibrating capacity, ribbed for everyone's pleasure, so large you can't possibly, it's more of a fucking set it on the coffee table as a centerpiece than a usable dildo, is still here. It must have fallen behind some other packages. Then she calls to complain. Excuse me, the largest dildo that I purchased didn't show up. Well, we absolutely sent it. Oh, did you now? It looked like that box was tampered with, and now for the rest of your life at this company, if you remain at this company, you will always be known as the guy who opened up and stole a package full of dildos to steal the biggest, blackest, gnarliest dildo alive. Not alive. So these are the thoughts that I had. Just, you know, what's a guy to do? What's a guy to do in that situation? Do you just pray none of the dildos fall out, bring them back at the end of your shift, and explain, look, box fell over, burst, I left it exactly the way that it was, you deal with it? Do you call your supervisor and say, dude, my truck's full of fucking dildos, I don't know what to do, this is too much for me to handle, so I gotta hand it off to you? Do you repackage them? You know, what do you do? Just think about that next time you order on Amazon. And now we get to what you all know and love. It must have been in Florida. News so stupid, so ridiculously outlandish and retarded that it must have happened here in Florida. We'll start tonight with Christian Hathaway, a woman locked inside a CVS after it had closed. She claims she had just been shopping, and the next thing she knew, the gates had been closed, the door was locked, and everyone was gone. At 9 p.m. So we'll dissect this first by starting with, hey bitch, it's a CVS, what are you doing there at 9 p.m.? They're closed by that point, at least most of the ones around here. Now I know down in St. Cloud, mind you, St. Cloud is kind of boonies, so most of the stuff down there probably closes earlier than it does in, say, Daytona or Orlando. So, food for thought. Her claim is She came in and was just shopping, and the next thing she knew, not only were the doors locked, not only was there no staff, but the metal shutters had been pulled down and locked in place. Now, I don't know about you guys, but those things are fucking loud. And if I heard shutters closing on me, I might have said something. Went to the front door, pounded a little bit. Somebody might have turned around and, holy shit, there's an old lady there. I think the dumb bitch fell asleep in a chair or something, and people weren't paying attention. You know, once you reach a certain age, you basically become furniture anyway. You're just sitting there, you don't do much, and there are exceptions, but, you know, fuck those people who make the rest of us look bad in our old age. But old people just kind of become furniture anyway. So maybe there was these massage chairs in the back corner. I'm speculating at this point, guys. Just trying to wrap my head around how you can get locked into a CVS while you are actively shopping and the entire place gets closed down. Do the lights turn off? I mean, you probably have the security lights, but lights cut to 50% before people leave the building still doesn't trigger something like, lady, what were you doing? You thought you were going to rob the fucking place, but there were gates outside that you couldn't get through? So she calls 911. 911 goes, how the fuck did you get in there? She goes, oh, I've been there. Nobody fucking believes her. But they have no reason to doubt her other than dumb bitch, CVS, 9 p.m., everything locked down. So they call 911. Eventually somebody comes to let her out the end. But I still want to know what the fuck she was doing, because there is no possible way. Because I know, I've worked in retail places. They walk up and down the aisles. They double check to make sure nobody's around. Little beep beep. Hello, shoppers. Everything's about to close, so get the fuck out. They let you know. And the lights go down. Then the doors lock. Then the shutters come down. If none of that is a warning to you, either you're in a coma or you're trying to steal something. Now, I think you were just pissed that the pharmacy was locked up. But hey, I digress. That's why it must have been in Florida. And my hat's got to go off to this next guy. Mark Charles Barnett of Osceola here in Florida concocted what can only be one of the most amazing stock exchange kind of crimes I can imagine. Now, this guy was definitely thinking in the future. What he did is he concocted a plan in which he would disguise 10 bombs as food items and place them on the East Coast between Florida and New York in Target. Yes, we all love Target. You know, the rich man's Walmart. His plan was to detonate these 10 bombs in 10 different stores, and in hopes that Target stock would plummet and he could buy it up cheap before the rebuild and rebound, to which those stocks would then be worth a shit ton of money. Now, bravo. I mean, really. That's not a bad plan. As far as being a criminal goes and trying to blow up a shopping store in order to buy stocks, that's not bad. I like it. You're thinking ahead, thinking outside the box, and putting the bombs inside the food boxes. Where he fucked up, though, was he enlisted the help of somebody else. So he had this guy. He was going to be the one to place some of the bombs in some of the stores. So Barnett gives him gloves, a mask, a license plate cover to try and conceal the guy's identity. Again, forward-thinking guy. Like, he was trying really hard to cover up his steps. So fair play. But you got somebody else involved. Their conscience took over. So, this guy, who is left unnamed, rightfully so, because he didn't commit a crime, actually takes the 10 food item disguised bombs to the police and says, look, this dude's nuts. I thought he was joking. What the fuck? Why are you going to blow up my favorite Target? It's only got a bullseye on it. Like you're asking for it. But no. So the guy turns him in, and yeah, he's going to rot in prison about 10 years. But seriously, guys, you got to give it to this guy for creativity. Because that's not something anyone would normally think of. You know, ooh, if I blow up a bunch of buildings, their stock will go down. So just maybe I could buy it up. Like, how long did it take him to think of this? Because I would never have thought of that. I'd probably kill and rob a lot of Brazilian tourists, but that's just because I know they got lots of cash on them. But I digress. Yeah, very forward thinking. I like this guy's attitude. I'm not a big fan of how he wanted to go about it, but I like the drive he has. Says something about him. Now, this last one only qualifies as it must have been in Florida, only because it's the first time I've seen anything like this in Florida. Now, we all know about the secret underground government. I've been avoiding political posts and shit like that because we see enough of them. I'd rather do goofy shit or funny shit, which got some interesting ideas. It's just a little more difficult doing it by myself. But I avoid the political posts because we're all seeing these posts about the shadow government and George Soros paying everybody off to do all these protests and funding the illegal, what are they called, blackouts, black ops, black unts, these assholes that are showing up in all black to what would have possibly been a peaceful protest, this, that, and the next thing, and just destroying shit. Whatever. But we also know, if you watched my last rant, not necessarily a fan of my job right now. So I've been scouring all the fun little job posting sites. You know, you got your Indeed, you got your Monster, you got all this shit. And then I finally went, fuck it, let's just see what Craigslist has to offer. Because I associate Craigslist with bullshit. And I actually saw a lot of really good job options, but we'll go on that later. But I found this beauty. And I said to myself, I can't believe this shit is actually fucking happening. Are you kidding me? People are actually, possibly, paying people to protest inane bullshit. And it may or may not be inane bullshit. Look, y'all got your own views, your own points, your own shit that you're worried about. I got my own too. But I never heard of this protest before. I never saw anything of this protest. They were protesting on Ridgewood. Well, guess what? I ride past that all the fucking time. They were protesting City Hall. I didn't see a fucking soul. 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, didn't see anybody. But here's an ad saying, we'll pay you $10 an hour to protest. Fuck, and I didn't want to believe it was happening. Now again, I don't know if they're actually going to pay this, or if they did pay this because it happened a week or so ago. I don't know if they paid anybody, but by the looks of it, they probably didn't. But the fact that, well, and again, I guess I think people didn't show up for it because I didn't see any protesters. Maybe I was just lucky and missed them. I don't know. But the fact is, if you're going to put that shit up, if you're going to actually buy protesters, come on. You know, how fucking sad is that? All that tells me is you're abusing the fucking poor people more than what you're protesting against is. People got fucking jobs. You know, I said this, let's put this on Facebook. You know, something along the lines of, man, I wish I didn't have to work so I can go and protest too. But I have to work, you see. And so do a lot of other people. So you see all these protests, and seeing something like this, where they're offering money to protesters, it undermines whether or not that protest was real. Because if you've got 300 people actually protesting, 1,200 people getting paid to be there, you lose me. And I'm not saying that's what's happening. All I'm saying is this kind of shit discredits real protests. But it's the first time I saw anything like this in Florida. The only one protest that I ever witnessed or were able to bear witness to in Florida was in Orlando shortly after Pulse. Insanely peaceful, no violence, no arrests whatsoever, no property damage. And I said before, fucking right on, guys. I was at work, couldn't join you, but you did it right. If you're paying people to do this shit, you think they actually care? Somebody gets in their face, you don't think they're going to get into a fucking fight? They're getting paid. What do they give a shit? Maybe they'll get on the news. Maybe a cop will tase them, and then they can hit the ghetto lottery and just sue the government and make shit tons of money on top of it. Like, come on, fuckers. Like, I know I usually keep, it must have been in Florida for goofy shit or unbelievable shit. This is unbelievable to me. The fact that this crap actually exists. Call me naive, call me an asshole, call me whatever you want. I didn't think this shit was actually real. But, there you go. It is real. Well, as always, if you like what you heard, tell your friends. If you hated it, tell your enemies, because it's the same damn thing to me. But while you're here, go ahead and hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. That way you'll get notified when I do more shit. And we got more shit coming. As well, guys, share, because the more people watching, the more videos I do. As well, you're going to see popping up here either the actual subscribe button or a link to a video that you may not have seen yet. I'll probably be linking the one about... No, I don't know what I'm going to put. But anyway, there will be a link to a new video that you might not have seen. If you have seen it, share that video, share this video, share them all. Because... fuck, I asked you to. So for ALittlePunchDrunk, it must have been in Florida, and a really weird thought that I had earlier this week. Rock on.